All right, what is up? We are live. Ryan Blaney wins the race in Pocono, and let's might as well just run through the rest of them to see where everybody else finished. Like I said here, Ryan Blaney wins. He takes home 40 points overall. That's not the most points on the day, though, because Denny Hamlin here, who finished in second, had 54 points. Alex Bowman, second most points, or third most points on the day, tied with Chase Elliott, finishes in third. They both had 43. William Byron, second most points here at 47. He finished fourth in both stages and fourth in the race. So William Byron, without question, had the fourth fastest car here today. Finished fourth in every stage. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. So almost, I don't know, an anomaly or a perfect race if you love the number four, I guess. I don't know. Joey Logano ends up in fifth place finish, two top fives for Team Penske here. Tyler Reddick in sixth place there. Didn't get to see his post race interview. Don't know if he was crying again about this one or not. Brad Keselowski, seventh place finish here. Martin Truex Jr. is in eighth place. Chase Elliott, who had a really strong car, but that pit road penalty that nabbed four cars. Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. Somebody else got it too. I can't remember who the other one was off the top of my head, but all of them in the exact same section, which makes me wonder if NASCAR has something funky going on with their scoring and timing in that one section or what, because it is really odd that four cars were all in the same section speeding. So it could be nothing. It could be something. I don't know, but definitely a weird thing there. Bubba Wallace ends up in 10th place. Chris, but big for him because Ross Chastain had trouble, which we'll get to here in just a minute. Points wise, he's still below the cut line, though. Ross Chastain is still above the cut line. I'll look at that here in just a minute as well. Chris Buescher finishes in 11th place with the buildsubmarines.com Ford, and they showed a really cool inflatable Build Submarines exhibit there they had at the racetrack. That wasn't at the Martinsville racetrack, so hopefully they bring that to Martinsville for the fall race because that looked pretty cool. I definitely want to check that out. Christopher Bell on the Ream Toyota finishes 12th. Kyle Larson 13th. Solid day for him, but he was one of the drivers bit on that speeding penalty as well. Eric Jones with a 14th place. Good to see that car, the 43, running up front for the first time in what feels like eons, decades, and ages. We saw with Alex Bowman, his back injury affected him for a long period of time. You got to wonder the same thing about Eric Jones. Is his back just now starting to feel right and he's starting to put things together and run better, or what's going on? Because that back injury for sure, nothing to play with. Hopefully he's feeling better, and this is a sign that's indicative that team is starting to turn around because he feels better as well. 15th place for Chase Briscoe. Daniel Suarez, 16th. Good run for Daniel Suarez. Needed that run. They've been in a little bit of a slump here. Carson Hocevar finishes in 17th. Austin Cindric, who was caught up in that wreck with Corey LaJoie, suffered some damage from it, finishes in 18th. Corey LaJoie, who caused that wreck, finishes in 19th, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Of course, the wreck between him and Kyle Busch. We'll get into it in a more lengthy process in a minute, and then we'll get into what you guys want to talk about. Josh Berry, 20th place finish for the Overstock.com Ford. AJ Allmendinger, 21st, was also involved in that Corey LaJoie wreck. Justin Haley, 22nd. Austin Dillon, 23rd. Michael McDowell, 24th. Daniel Hemrick, 25th. Cody Ware, 26th. Ty Gibbs, 27th. Couldn't make his way back up from that speeding penalty. And then, of course, his engine blew as the race continued. So you got to wonder when that engine started to go sour, because the first part of this race, he completely dominated. You got to wonder if that engine started losing power throughout the day, because he had an absolute rocket ship. If he had a healthy engine, I think he could have been one of the drivers contending for this. John Hunter Nemechek, 28th. Him and Zane Smith got in a wreck. So John Hunter Nemechek doing John Hunter Nemechek things. Zane Smith doing Zane Smith things. Unfortunately for both of them, not having the seasons that they wanted, but Zane Smith here in 29th, just below Nemechek. Ryan Preece, another driver in the Corey LaJoie incident, finishes 30th. Harrison Burton, also in the Corey LaJoie incident, finishes 31st. Kyle Busch, also in the Corey LaJoie incident, finishes 32nd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., also in the same incident with Corey LaJoie, finishes 33rd. 34th for Todd Gilliland. He had he got into the wall by himself, and I think he bent a toe link, and I think that ended up costing him his day. And then he cut the tire down or whatever happened on the right front. But he just ended up having a bad day after he bent that toe link and never could recover. J.J. Yaley, 35th for New York Racing there. Ollie's Bargain Outlet Chevrolet. Good-looking paint scheme on that car. Busch Light Peach of Ross Chastain, that's a self-wreck there. And Noah Gregson, also a self-wreck for the Overstock.com Ford Mustang Dark Horse number 10 of Noah Gregson. And then there's the we'll just jump into the Corey LaJoie thing, and then I'll jump into the comments. But yeah, Corey LaJoie takes people involved in his wreck were Austin Cindric, Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger, Harrison Burton, Ryan Preece, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So all of those drivers involved in that deal, and Kyle Busch held his line there, and Corey LaJoie came up and just absolutely wrecked him on purpose, in my opinion. There's no doubt about that. Which is whatever, because Corey LaJoie definitely came up, and Kyle Busch was in front of him, so you would think he could at least see him. No doubt about that. So, like I said, in my opinion, he wrecked him on purpose, and probably wouldn't be as bad as it is if he didn't take out that many cars. But also, what makes it even worse is when they played the radio of it afterwards. And they said basically he got what he deserved. And if you're one of those cars that was involved in that wreck, I don't think that's what you want to hear. Matter of fact, I know that's not what you want to hear on the radio from the guys in the 7 camp. So going forward, I think Corey LaJoie is going to have a tough road to hoe. He's always been a really difficult car to pass, no matter what, and there's nothing wrong with that. Ryan Newman made a career out of doing that. But when you basically intentionally wreck somebody and you get 7 or 8 other cars involved in it and you act like it's the other car's fault and he got what he deserved, those guys are going to race you now the same way that they perceive you raced the 8 car, and they might wreck you in practice. It might get to that point. Like, it's just that's not the reaction you want to hear. So I don't know. To me, it was a BS move, in my opinion. So I don't know what Corey. I like Corey LaJoie, but this was not his finest moment. We'll put it that way. So all right, we'll jump into it. Do have a poll question. What do you do with Corey LaJoie? Fine him $50K, fine him $50K in points like Carson Hocevar, fine him $50K like they did Bubba Wallace, fine him $50K and suspend him, or no penalty, he's stacking bodies. No penalty, he's stacking bodies, 36%, fine and $50K. Fine 50K and suspend 14%, 50K in points 29%. Just a fine of 50K is at 21%, 28 votes in. And let's see what you guys want to talk about here. Jamie Schweitzer first like suspend the 7, says Bumblebee. LaJoie is La Hoque, says Jamie Schweitzer, or La Joke, depending on how you want to pronounce it there. Team Penske, Hoy La Hoy is La Hoque. Team Penske scores 2 top 5 finishes. Sorry, Mr. H, says Jamie Schweitzer. So, yep, indeed. End of the line penalties. So, yeah, there you go. You could have gave him that, or you could have gave him a pass-through. I think we saw a pass-through penalty in the truck series for Lane Riggs that cost him 2 laps or something like that. So, there you go. That's another way of doing it. You cost him points with the 2 laps and so on and so forth. Big Wheel, good to see you all here. I love you back, my friend. Hello, everyone. Says Beast 1624. What's up, Beast? Hope you're doing good today, my friend. Ford for the win, says Bruce Reed. Yeah, not a lot of people, including myself, picked Ford to win this one. I thought for sure. I think without the engine trouble, I think actually the 54 would have won the race, but that's just me. I cursed him by picking him to win. But yeah, Ford pulls it out. I don't think a lot of people had him. In fact, they were the long shot. I know they were plus 350 on DraftKings, if I remember correctly, when I was looking at the odds earlier today. I don't think the 7 should be suspended or fined. He didn't hook the 8 intentionally, just ran out of talent, pulling back in line, says I say Kyle. There you go. That's one way of looking at it. He's just so bad that he didn't do it on purpose. That's just how he drives. Maybe he needs to get some spectacles, some glasses. There's no shame in wearing glasses, no matter what age you are. Like, if you can't see, you can't see. Can KFB Dump Zone, his average finish when running that sponsor is 20th with a best of 9th twice, says Cody Ledger. So there you go. Maybe Zone is the curse for the 8 car. Big Will, I lived in Upper Puna, Hawaii in 2011 and 2019. Says Jamie Schweitzer. Stupid Fords, says Duke Chronic. The Bush interview was classic, says Wilford. Yeah, that was a great interview by Kyle Busch. It was essentially the equivalent of the Marshawn Lynch deal when he says, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Kyle Busch just said, I'd like to thank my sponsors. He ran down his sponsor list, and then Kim Kuhn asked him a follow-up question of, do you think you need to have a conversation with Corey? And he just goes, nope. So there you go. Or he said, nah, or something like that. And so there you go. And Kim Kuhn, by the way, covering for a man, Corey LaJoie, who she's friends with, saying, Corey LaJoie didn't say he didn't care. That was his crew chief or whatever. So there you go. She made sure she got that in. Don't think it's going to make any difference to the guys that he wrecked there. But I guess technically he didn't say he deserved it. Let's see. Fastest on race day, says Bruce Reed. First on race day. The 54 was puking oil and water, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, super late caution on the 54, dumping all those fluids on the track too by NASCAR. So don't know what that was all about. They definitely should have thrown that pretty early. I swapped the 54 out of the garage and put the 24 in. Says say Kyle. uh, oh, so you did the opposite. You put the 54 in and took the 24 out. That's a bummer, man. That's a bummer. Two fourth places. I don't know if anybody's ever finished the exact same, other than first. I know somebody's won all the stages. I don't know though at another position like second, third, or four or whatever. If somebody has finished other than dead last, because that would be pretty easy too. But I don't know that anybody's ever gone like fourth, 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 or seventh, seventh, seventh. That's pretty interesting right there. Was pulling for Ty till the bad motor failed, says Wilford. I think he had the car to do it today. I just didn't have the motor, obviously. Howdy from the Great White North, hot north. Let's say I'm going to have a sad beer for Ross, even though I don't get beer here. I hope Ross and Noah had some beers together while they watched the race. Yeah, well, definitely a bummer for both of those guys. Just these cars are on a knife's edge, and they found the knife's edge and went over it, unfortunately. And what's up, Canada? Also, by the way, BB, what's up, Sunday crew? What's up, T Van? Good to see you on here, my friend. Corey is going to be counting them pennies instead of stacking them, says Cody Ledger. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he gets fined for that, because it was pretty obvious it was on purpose, in my opinion. I guess some people see it the other way. I'm a big KFB fan, but not all contact should be some sort of penalty or fine. Yes, it's a shit move, but not everything doesn't need Big Brother says like dislike. That's fine, and that's why I'm asking the question. But I do think it was definitely on purpose. Whether or not it gets a penalty or a fine or whatever, I don't know. That's up to NASCAR. NASCAR is consistently inconsistent. Do I think he'll get a fine or a penalty? Absolutely not. I don't think he'll get anything for it. But I did feel like asking the question because, quite honestly, I need a poll question, and that was the easiest one. So that's what I went with. How come NASCAR fans no longer like actual racing, says John Ray? I don't know. I didn't have a problem with this race. I thought it was good. I don't know. 54, he blowed up, says Robin Morris. Can NASCAR tell drivers that the fluid's leaking out on the track to immediately get off the track, says Nathan Urick. I mean, yeah, you would think they would throw that caution a lot faster than they threw it. I don't know why it took them so long to throw that thing. It was definitely a miss on my part. Yes, Kyle Busch is in a unique place, says Michael Rosati. I get him not lifting and letting Kyle wreck himself, but Corey turned up into Kyle. That's what I'm saying. Like, Corey came up. It's very obvious Corey came up. So, I mean, you can say what you want to, but he was behind Kyle. So basically the rule is if you're behind the guy, don't run into him because you can see what you're doing, or you should be able to see what you're doing. I don't know. So I don't buy that it wasn't on purpose. Corey did it on purpose, and Kyle did not come down on him. Corey obviously moved up. So I mean, it was 100% intentional. I mean, he's obviously not going to say it's intentional, and that's smart because you don't want to get fined. If you say it's intentional, you're definitely going to get fined. So he's doing the right thing, saying the right things. But it was, in my opinion, it was definitely intentional. They've had beef since Martinsville. This goes all the way back to Martinsville. They got into each other at Martinsville as well. So this is not just this isolated incident. It was 100%, in my opinion, 100% on purpose. Remember the golden rule: payback, innocent bystanders. I don't care what he did. You only turn only what you did to them. So that's what I'm saying. Robert Stone, he took out a significant amount of other cars. So Corey LaJoie is going to have to answer to those other cars, a lot of which race back there where he's at most of the time. So I don't know. He's not made it an easy road for himself with the comments, especially after that they caught on the radio. Pocono not a track to be wrecking people on purpose, says Delmar Kaufman. That's another good point that should be brought up. It's a very high speed track, so not the smartest place to be doing that type of stuff. Kyle Busch would make a good politician. He was so diplomatic and sarcastic, says Robin Marks. No fine. We don't want NASCAR policing what's dirty and what's not, says Robert Stone. I mean, that's probably a fair point. And like I said, who knows what NASCAR is going to do? They're so inconsistent. But I don't think they'll fine him anything at all. But you never know with NASCAR because, like I said, they're so inconsistent. BB, how far back is Ford in manufacturers' points now, says Jamie Schweitzer. I don't know because they haven't updated it. They're super slow on updating it. Like, I know a couple weeks ago I was looking at it and they still hadn't. It took them like till Tuesday to update the points. So it's kind of weird on how they do it. But I'll try to include it if they update it this time. I wonder what Childers is thinking now, says Wilford. I don't know. Probably thinking about how he's going to work with that guy and get the most out of him. I don't think I think Rodney Childers isn't even thinking about that yet. I think he's thinking about getting Josh Berry a win. I think he'll worry about that when he gets to it. Get rid of the new car and stage racing if you want NASCAR to be good again, says T-Van. At least the stage cautions. At least the stage cautions. LOL. Saw that. Childress said the seven is a damn weapon. Or Childress said the seven is a damn weapon. Says Spencer the Guru. I mean, it's pretty fair. I don't know. I need to go back and look at it. I know John Hunter Nemechek leads the series. I don't know who's second in incidents and making contacts per race. I know it was over 50% for John Hunter Nemechek. I need to go back and look at what Corey LaJoie on incidents per race, what his percentage is at, because he's got to be third or second somewhere in there. I'm watching the replay, and he wrecked Kyle. He turned that hard. Yeah, it was definitely on. It was definitely on purpose. There's no doubt about that. Whether or not NASCAR finds him, I don't know. So we'll have to see about that. The 54 dominated the first stage, but it seemed once he got in traffic, he was pretty average. Says Marcolian, and yeah, I don't disagree with you. But what I'm saying is, at some point, that engine started going south, and it probably took a long time before it became completely terminal. If that engine started going south, that's what I would expect, because I would still expect him to be able to hold the position he had. So once he started dropping back and couldn't hang with the other Toyotas, like once he couldn't hang with Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex, I think that's when you started seeing the engine start to go the wrong way. He was probably just losing horsepower as the event went on until the thing finally erupted. And this is since the last few months, this is like 7 or 8 engines, Xfinity Series and Cup for Joe Gibbs Racing, which I know some are TRD and some are Joe Gibbs, but you know Joe Gibbs basically is assembling all of them, no matter what. The 54 dominated the first stage, but it seemed once he got in traffic, he was pretty. I just read that one. Radioactive should be fun this week, so say, oh yeah, Radioactive is going to be pretty legit, I would imagine. Did Chase Elliott get suspended for hooking Hamlin in a similar fashion last year? I can't remember if that's what we were talking about that, and I can't remember. I didn't look it up because I didn't know we were going to be talking about all that. But I think Chase Elliott did get suspended for hooking Hamlin. So I think he got suspended. Bubba got suspended for hooking Larson. So if NASCAR deems this intentional, then Corey LaJoie could definitely get suspended, but NASCAR would have to deem it intentional. They would have to go back and actually look at the SMT data. And when you see him turn all the way up into Kyle Busch, if they can see that on the SMT data, that might be the only way that you get him fined and suspended, because he said all the right things after the race. But NASCAR can go back and look at the data. That's what they did with Bubba Wallace. I think Bubba Wallace said that he just got loose or something like that. But they ended up looking at the SMT data, and that's how they got him. Robin Marks with the super chat. I was hoping to do a super chat with a Ross win, but I think Ross will get a win. Hopefully, it's probably the fact that he cheated on the watermelon with the peach. It's bad karma. Good comment there. I like that. Cheated on the watermelon with the peach. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think he'll get a win too. That's the other thing. He's right on the cutoff line at plus 26. I did say I'd talk about the points too. So let me read off the points real quick, because I skipped that and didn't do it. I said I would do it and I didn't do it. But yeah, I think Ross will win a race and get in there. But right now, let's just look at I think Chase Elliott took the points lead. I'm not sure, but I know the cutoff line. I can look at the cutoff line points and see those right now from I think Jet posted this earlier. But right now at the cut line is going to be Ty Gibbs in 14th at plus 67. Plus 44 for Chris Buescher in 15th, and plus 27 for Ross Chastain. So minus 27 to Bubba Wallace, who is the first car out right now. Chase Briscoe is the next car out at minus 75. So basically beyond Briscoe, Busch, and Gilliland got to win to get in. Bubba Wallace can still point his way in if he can get past Ross Chastain. Chris Buescher is in a good spot. But of course, we've got a plate race in this. So if a driver below the cut line wins the plate race, that's going to knock Ross out regardless. But there's also a good chance that Ross wins a race. Drivers that are locked in, of course, are Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, and Daniel Suarez. Those, I think Martin Truex Jr. is pretty safe regardless. He's at plus 137. But then below him, I mean, it can get interesting if you get 3 winners below that cut line, because Ty Gibbs, Chris Buescher, and Ross Chastain could get knocked out. And then anybody below there. So there you go. That's that's sort of your cutoff line. A look at that. Let's see. Childress needs to tell his guy to stay away from any car with a 7 in it. Says say Kyle. Did LaJoie ever? What did LaJoie ever do to get a cup ride? Nothing in Xfinity or trucks to note. Says like dislike. He drive. I don't know. He drove. I know he drove late models, and then the next time I saw him, other than maybe some ARCA stuff, he was in the 32. I know Matt DiBenedetto drove it too. Archie St. Hilaire or something like that. I can't remember exactly who ran it. I can't remember what the name of the 32 Go Fast was. It Go Fast Racing? That's the next time I saw him. So sort of out of nowhere. Possible poll question: will the Olympic break result in new NASCAR babies 9 months later? Says Jamie Schweitzer. That's a good question. I don't know, my friend. Hey guys, we're 52 likes short. Says Wilfred. So yeah, if you'd like to hit the like button, that would be much appreciated. Don't feel pressured into doing it though. Let's see. I only saw about the last quarter of the race. I'm more concerned about the current events lately, says Daniel Block. Without a doubt, I think a lot of people are, and not to make light of it, but I mean that was probably one of the worst incidents we've seen. I know somebody, like I said, I was super little when it happened, but I know in my lifetime, Reagan has been shot at, and I think that was the last one that it happened to. But I don't really talk about politics on here, so I just try to do everything other than that. But it's hard not to acknowledge it and at least mention something about it. Mention something about it on the first show as well. That's just whether you agree with or disagree with anybody. That's not the way to go about it. So I don't know. That's why I don't listen to mainstream media or get too involved in politics anyway, because you see how bad they get people spun up, and now somebody completely just wasted their life basically over getting wound up and spun up about some politics because he watched probably too much TV and got just got caught up and wound up in it. Robin Mark saying it was intentional. Uh, Hey mother, one another says like dislike. Just posted a Stingray Rob update on Discord. He's been released. He's hurting, but okay. So yeah, Stingray Rob, he took a flip over there in the Indy cars, so he is okay. Uh, that's what I was thinking. Yoda has been having major motor issues, says Steve Van. Yeah, it's been pretty wild. Corey's not a bad driver. He just lost his cool and made a butthole of himself. Kyle should empathize, says Robert Stone. Touche. Turnabout is fair play. Manufacturer standings have to be getting spicy. Toyota dominating laps led, but the points have to be close. I think the points are pretty close for sure. What caused the 38 to wreck? Was it contact with Zane Smith? They seem to be going at it for a while. I don't know if it was that or when he got the toe link misaligned on the rear of his car. Maybe that made the right front tire wear out the wrong way or something like that. Or if it was just a brake rotor that exploded, but something on that right front exploded. Anything could have happened. But whatever it was the right front. It was either a brake rotor or a tire went down. I just don't see how they can say 100% intentional. Corey can and should play the I thought I was clear, it wasn't card. Honestly, just think that was the case. Can't imagine intentionally junking the field. I don't know, man. Like Corey LaJoie is one of those drivers that sees the red mist a lot. I think there are moments where his temper gets the best of him, but I do think it was intentional. But like I said, to your point, I think it is going to be hard to prove. That's what I'm saying. If they can find it in SMT data where he did it intentionally there at the last minute, turned up into him, like that would be like the only thing I think they could. So to your point, it's going to be really hard to prove. So I don't think he's actually going to get fined for it, but I do think he did it on purpose, 100%. Like he just doesn't like Kyle Busch. Like I said, this goes all the way back to Martinsville, but I don't think he'll actually get fined for it unless NASCAR can prove it through SMT, which is going to be super hard. So I think he's going to be clear, but I do think he did it on purpose. I just had a big problem with LaJoie basically pitching a fit and taking 10 cars out. If it was just him and Kyle Busch, I could understand it. I think a lot of people are in that boat. Like if you just took out the 8 car, like I think a lot more people would be more understanding of it. But like I said, you took out several other cars, but a lot of those guys I hit really hard. And that's the other thing. This isn't the track you do that at. So maybe to say Kyle's point, even if Corey was mad, maybe it still was an accident because this isn't the type of track where you would do a payback move or anything like that. I still think it was on purpose. I think he just got mad for a minute and forgot where he was at and just didn't care. And he said, F it. Ford's getting hot at the right time, or it does it just seem like that, says Robert Stone. They've had a good last 2 or 3 months. There's no doubt about that. Just be praying for the people who got hurt yesterday, says Bumblebee. Yeah, that's the other thing. I know at least one, but maybe up to was it 3 that got clipped and 1 that didn't make it? I don't know. I don't know. Ford's getting let's see. Corey should be out at Spire next year, says Delmer Kaufman. Um, 38 had a brake caliper explode. So brake caliper, according to Bumblebee, LaJoie is inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame for being the least talented male driver ever, says Jamie Schweitzer. Stingray Rob took a nasty one today, says Robert Stone. What point system do they use for the owners championship? I know it resets, but I don't know. I don't know beyond that. Kyle and Corey don't really have a lot of history, do they? I know at least back to Martinsville. I know that there's just like a lot of guys that don't like Corey LaJoie. You remember when Chase Elliott moved him out of the way? I forget what race it was. They just don't like the way he races. He races like Ryan Newman, except he doesn't have cars that are as fast as Ryan Newman was back in the day. So there's a lot of guys that don't appreciate being held up by a car that's way slower than them. So there's a lot of guys that just legitimately do not like the way Corey LaJoie drives. Kyle and Corey don't really have a lot of history, do they? I think at least going back to Martinsville, there they do. The SMT will show the turn, but it won't show if Corey legitimately thought he was clear. If I'm the 7 NASCAR lawyer, I'm arguing that all day long. Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be really hard to prove. So that, like I said, I think he'll get away with it, but I do think he did it on purpose. No doubt about it. About that, no doubt about that in my mind. He did it on purpose. But I do think he'll get away with it too, because it's just going to be so hard to prove. It's a bang bang move, and it's going to be hard to prove that he knew for sure he was going to hook Kyle Busch. But I don't think that's really going to matter though to the guys he's racing back there with that he took out. Because let's see, let me read it one more time. The drivers that were that he took out here. Where did I put that at? Oh, tell me I didn't. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. So he took out Cindric. He took out Kyle Busch. He took out the 16, which is AJ Allmendinger. Which AJ Allmendinger, I mean, you already know the deal with him. AJ Allmendinger is probably plotting right now how he's gonna rip the 7's chain. So AJ Allmendinger for sure going to take him out. Harrison Burton's 50-50. Harrison Burton has nothing to lose. He knows he's not coming back to the 21. So Harrison Burton, if he feels like it, he can go ahead and yank the chain on the 7. Ryan Preece in the 41. I've seen him and Ross going at it at Martinsville. I know Ryan Preece is not scared at all. And then you got the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse. Ricky Stenhouse might take him out on purpose or by accident. So you never know with the 47. But 47, he's definitely not scared either. So if you look at all the people involved in this, like Austin Cindric might be the only one who doesn't care. Kyle Busch is still probably going to be trying to get a win to get into the playoffs. So Kyle Busch's retaliation will probably be after the playoffs start if he doesn't make it. But the rest of these guys, no F's given. I think they'll take a shot at him whenever they feel like taking a shot at him. For sure. So, yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting thing to keep track of for the rest of the season. What's up, Timber Ace? Good to see you on here. Corey makes Mikey Waltrip look like the best driver ever, says Jamie Schweitzer. That's wild. Harrison will retaliate, but will he do it accidentally? Hey, there you go, say Kyle. I just said that we're on the same page. I don't know. I don't know. Him and Stenhouse might be in the same boat there. Do they pull a Danica and take themselves out while they're trying to take a shot at him? That would be the other thing I would sort of be looking at. I haven't updated the points yet, so I can't speak on those. At least on J-Ski, they haven't. So I don't know what the regular season points look like. But yeah, that's pretty much the race, and looks like we've hit the end of the chat right now. 40% say no penalty. He's just stacking bodies. Fine and 50K and suspend at 16%, 26% for fine. 50K fine and points, 50K fine by itself, 18%. So that's going to be how the poll ends. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this episode, and I'll check you guys on Tuesday. Peace.